Remembering Connecticut. The Rumpus at Waterbury. The American Revolution was a revolt against England, but in many towns in Connecticut, as throughout the colonies, it was also a civil conflict that pitted fellow townspeople against one another. Nowhere was this more apparent than among the 3,500 residents of Waterbury, a farming town in western Connecticut. A town meeting in 1774 created a Committee of Inspection, charged attentively to observe the conduct of all persons, and to publish the names of anyone found inimical to the rights of British America. Soon, a member of a Waterbury militia company, John Sutcliffe, Jr., denounced his fellow militiamen.
The major part of the company, both officers and soldiers, were totally disaffected to the general cause of American liberty, and altogether refused to adopt the measures advised by the Continental Congress, but were accustomed to speak and act in direct opposition thereto.
In response, Captain Amos Bronson and Ensign Samuel Scoville were cashiered and dismissed from their military offices, and new officers were chosen. A few months later, some Waterbury inhabitants charged in court that another militia officer, Captain Hezekiah Brown, had said
that the Congress ought to be punished for putting the country to so much cost and charge, for they did no more good than a parcel of squaws, that Boston had wrongfully undertaken to quarrel about the tea, that our General Assembly was as arbitrary as the Pope of Rome when it cashiered Captain Bronson and Ensign Scoville.
Hezekiah Brown was tried, found guilty of disobedience, and denied the right to hold military office. Many of those who had initially opposed the revolutionary movement, such as Ensign Samuel Scoville, later repented and even risked their lives for it. But others remained loyal to king, country, and religion. One of these was Moses Dunbar, a Waterbury resident who, before he was hanged for high treason, left this last message.
About the year 1760, my father removed himself and family to Waterbury. My wife and I, upon what we thought sufficient and rational motives, declared ourselves for the Church of England. From the time that the present unhappy misunderstanding between Great Britain and the colonies began, I freely confess I never could reconcile my opinion to the necessity or lawfulness of taking up arms against Great Britain. Having spoken somewhat freely on the subject, I was attacked by a mob of about 40 men, very much abused, my life threatened and nearly taken away. Finding my life uneasy, and as I had reason to apprehend in great danger, I thought it my safest method to flee to Long Island. When there, I accepted a captain's warrant for the king's service. I returned to Connecticut when I was taken and betrayed and brought before the authority of Waterbury. I was committed to Hartford. I was tried for high treason against the state of Connecticut. I was brought to the bar of the court and received sentence of death. I am fully persuaded that I depart in a state of peace with God and my own conscience. The Reverend William Vales of Simsbury, my fellow prisoner on account of preaching in favor of the British government, has been indefatigable in affording every possible assistance to prepare me for my terrible exit. I cannot take the last farewell of my countrymen without desiring them to show kindness to my poor widow and children, not reflecting on them the manner of my death.
A legend has it that a white deer sprang out of the forest and passed directly under Moses Dunbar at the moment he was hanged.